Hello, Brian, Nico, Dustin, and Mike. It's Alicia here. And whatever you do, don't go out there. Did you hear me? Don't go out there. Well, unless you happen to have a podcast called Don't Go Out There. In which case, maybe everything will be okay. Maybe. No promises. Have fun. I know that you're already doing that, so just go keep kicking ass.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, into the film review. We are kicking off a new month. We appreciate everyone tuning in for spooky season in October. It's always, one of our favorite months of the year to just talk horror and hang out with the family. But we're kicking off November with Brother Brian's pick. Brian, you announce your pick and why you picked it?
Yeah, I picked another 90s banger. Came out in 1999, it's just 1 year away from Nico liking it. But it's Shaken, Not Stirred of Echoes. The first one. There's actually a direct-to-video Rob Lowe sequel, but I never saw that. But yeah, I think this is one of those little forgotten gems of the 90s right there with all the others that we did that I have forgotten. No, I'm just kidding. Kiss the Girls, Along Came a Spider, those, even to extent Fear, which we haven't done yet, but it's on my list to pick. But I think it came out coming out the same year as Sixth Sense kind of had it overlooked a lot. It kind of also made me realize how similar Talk to Me was to this in a few parts, which is probably why I liked that movie so much. And like I mentioned last week, one of the GOATs and writer-director David Koepp, Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible, the OG Spider-Man, the guy's a legend. And honestly, I think this movie is, like I said, it's overlooked. I think it's fun. I think it's unique as, I don't know if you want to say possession film or ghost film, I guess, but it's got a little extra mystery whodunit aspect to it that gives it the sauce for me, as you would kind of expect now that it's writer of the OG Mission Impossible, and Andrew Walker too, but I'll touch on that in my trivia. But just like a ghost story nowadays, I think it just gives us like this overabundance of jump scares. This doesn't really. It kind of just focuses more on the story, which I appreciate. And I believe for all you physical media people out there, the 4K release just came out earlier this year of our Lord 2025. So there you go.
All right, I'll go next. Speaking of a ghost story, Dustin knows I'm talking about A24. That's a good movie. We need to watch that one day.
Good movie. Casey Affleck.
Put you in the fields. But anyway, back to Stir of Echoes. I thought the movie was good, but not great. I did enjoy it for the most part. There are just some things I thought just didn't work for me. Particularly like the editing and transitions were kind of weird. I don't know, but I thought the movie was just fine. Shout out to Jessie Kraft on Instagram. She's a longtime listener, follower of the pod. This is her favorite movie. She commented. Just want to give her a shout out. But yeah, I thought the movie was fine, but I didn't really particularly love it either. Dustin, you want to go ahead and go next?
Yeah, I hadn't seen this movie in years. And you're right, Brian. I think it is one of those forgotten movies because I knew that I'd seen it. Started watching it, I was like, man, this is familiar, but I don't think I've seen it. Then it gets going further. It's like, I've definitely seen it. Okay. It's just one of those, honestly, I think this might have been the second time I've ever watched it and the first time in a good 20 to 25 years. So thank you for picking it. I thought it was solid. I think the casting is good. Now, you mentioned that coming out the same year as The Sixth Sense kind of hindered this movie. I agree. We actually talked about this in the group chat recently. It bugs the piss out of me how Hollywood does this. You know, spec scripts go around, and it was like one studio's like, ooh, this is a good idea. I like it. And then they don't get it. And then another studio gets it, and so they're like, oh, well, I like that story. Someone else, give me another story like that. We're seeing it right now with Frankenstein. We got multiple Frankenstein movies coming out this year, and that's just one example. It happens all the time. Drives me crazy. I think this one could have benefited from coming out a year or two before or a year or two after when it did. But I think it's solid. Now, normally, I'm a Kevin Bacon fan. I think that sometimes he can overact. He did a little in this movie. He overacted a little bit in this movie in certain scenes. But when he didn't, he was really good. But there are some scenes I'm like, this scene doesn't call for the kind of laugh I just let out. But I did because Bacon was Bacon. And, I don't know if that's a negative or positive. I enjoyed it. But this is one of those rare horror movies that Roger Ebert recommended. He liked this movie. He liked it specifically for the cinematography, and even more specifically, the scene where Kevin Bacon is on the telephone pole up in the air calling his sister-in-law. He loved that scene, how the sun was in the sky and everything. And it was very beautifully shot. Something that I don't think we saw a lot of in horror or thrillers in this time was standout cinematography. So I want to give a shout out to that. I thought even the little boy's acting was solid. We've seen a lot of bad child actors on this show. He's not one of them. So overall, I'm a fan of the movie. I didn't love it, but I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I had never seen this movie, and I faintly heard of it, but I didn't remember anything about it when you picked it. So when we said Stir of Echoes, I was like, okay, the hell is this movie? And then saw the cover art with Kevin Bacon, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I've heard of it. And I'm right with you there, Brian. I think it's really good. I think it's really solid. It has a very interesting, different story. It has a very similar Sixth Sense vibe. There's definitely some talk to me in there, especially the scene in the, I don't know if you call that a basement, through the wall with the hand, spoiler alert that we're going to get to. But there's definitely some vibes there. But I think it's a really interesting story. I think the ending lands, how they kind of tie everything together and wrap it up, how they all make it make sense. Now, some of the stuff I agree with Nico about is I think some of the editing, the way they transition from what is real, what's not real, confuses me along the way, but then it all does eventually make sense. Now, that's just me being a dumbass, not anything that they did wrong. But nope, I think Bacon is really good. I don't disagree with the overacting allegations, though. There's a couple scenes, but I think it's played for laughs, like almost on purpose in a way, which may not fit the rest of the tone of the film, but worked for me personally. I was like, oh, that was hilarious. And I have a couple times like, oh, shit, that was funny as fuck. I think the kid is really good. Believable as far as what happened to the girl in the end. That's a very believable story as far as how she lost her life and all that stuff. So I thought it was really well written, really interesting, kept my attention. And shout out to Brian, that runtime, baby. That's what I'm fucking talking about, buddy. A little hour and a half and like 4 minutes extra. Okay. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
All right. I'm gonna have to, I'll make sure to only pick 2 to 2.5 hour movies going forward. But
that's good.
Something.
There's the allegations of you hating us again. It's right there.
No,
it's right there for you.
But here's the thing. Here's what I've been trying to get people to understand my entire life. There is a huge difference in hating someone and just being a natural born asshole. Like, sorry, that's me. All right. I guess I'm doing the scene by scene tonight, unfortunately. So, anyone else have any opening thoughts before I jump into it?
Do
As
it.
always, Lord, bear me strength. We open with a little boy playing in the bathtub while his dad, Tom, plays the guitar in the other room. Tom goes to get Jake's pajamas, and Jake asks the empty room if it hurts to be dead. Downstairs, Tom is getting the 3rd degree from his sister-in-law, Lisa, for knocking up Maggie again. And after an initial reaction of, bummer, he just like me for real, Tom tells Maggie it's great. If Maggie looks familiar, it's because you probably recognize her from D2 The Mighty Ducks, where she plays Michelle McKay, or Law & Order Criminal Intent. Anyway, Tom vows to be more remarkable in life and goes to tuck Jake into bed. Jake shushes some whispering voices, and the 3 adults are heading across the street to a party, where Tom is greeted by Kevin Dunn, not the WWE one, the Transformers one. Lisa is talking about hypnosis, and Tom volunteers as tribute for a demonstration. We get a cool visualization of him envisioning what she's describing, and he has a vision of a murder while he's under. He wakes up in a panic with no recollection of what just happened during this hypnosis. He's ready to go. Later in bed, he's tossing and turning, and relives the hypnosis. Maggie, though, she has the perfect cure for his insomnia. It's time for bacon sex. Even considering the visions of the murder happening, I can still say I've had worse sexual experiences. He has to stop, though, because it was just too weird, and that's the open.
Bacon sex. That's crazy. Like we said in our open, Sixth Sense vibes with this cold open. And I didn't say it, but Dustin did. Zachary David Cope, I thought, agreed. So good as a child actor in this without really doing a ton, if that makes sense. He does just enough. But, we don't know right now if he's talking to an imaginary friend or a ghost or what. But then having Jake, I think, look at the camera and ask, does it hurt to be dead? Then revealing he's talking to nobody is a great effect there.
Yeah.
And again, fantastic job from the actor Zachary, whose only other acting credit, The Wedding Singer, the year before. What I love about this is, or this whole open really, is just how secluded it is. And I don't know if secluded is the right word there, but we have this small, tight-knit community, and I felt that. And we have, for the most part, a small group of characters that we really follow, and it kind of helps us bond quickly with them and also give us this sense of looming dread. Like from the start here, I'm waiting for something to happen. It just feels like, okay, something bad is going to happen soon. And we said it a million times, right? Atmosphere. I think this movie has it, and it's done very well from Cope here to me. What's crazy and also confusing? The hypnotist / sister-in-law here is played by Alina Douglas, but her character's name is Lisa Well. And later on, the babysitter is played by an actress named Lisa Well. That blew my mind, man. But anyway, I love the hypnotizing scene here. I mostly love the fact that we don't see what everyone else in the room did. Like, we learn all this stuff happened that we weren't privy to with Bacon. We are living it through Tom, and just the way that it gave me this anxiety, you can feel. Now, yeah, a lot of that is just Bacon's performance here, but like this infused throughout the movie and the whole anxiety thing. And I just think that this was such a good job of pulling me in here and giving me this uneasy feeling that, again, I felt throughout the rest of the movie. And fun fact, and I'll shut up, that shot of the safety pin going through the hand, not a special effect. A stuntman was paid to come in and have a safety pin pushed through his hand for the scene. So I would love to know what the going rate for that is, by the way.
Not a job I'd want. Anyway, so you know the rules, guys. First time watch, first time notes, baby. That's how we get down around here. So I'm excited. This little opening hum noise thing, I guess, is very creepy. So automatically I'm like, wow, this is a tone that we're setting, and I like that. And shout out to my man Tom, and he's got kids, just like our guy Brian. He's got kids, man. I will say, you kind of mentioned it in your scene by scene there, Dustin. Her sister's kind of a bitch. Goddamn, giving this man 3rd degree for no fucking reason. You're gonna find out in my notes here. The women in this film are not my favorite women of all time. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Hey, but real quick before you go, let me interrupt you just a second, because you just described Lisa as being a bitch, and Brian brought up the fact that the little boy Jake was also in The Wedding Singer. One of my favorite lines from The Wedding Singer is when he walks outside on the porch and goes, "Hey, Linda, you're a bitch," and just walks off. Like, I used to say that all the time. My friend Buck, rest in peace. Go ahead.
Well, I will say Maggie's sweet, right? Out of the women, she's probably the better one, but she has a couple terrible moments too. But never, you know, I hope Catherine never wanted me to be famous as well, because I've failed at just about everything I've done except this podcast, and sometimes I fail at this. So you know how that goes. So me and Tom got a lot in common there. Now, some are saying, very smart people, Brian, are saying that you picked this movie because it's technically a Christmas movie. I mean, look at the decorations there in the background. So shout out to Christmas tonight, baby. That's what I'm fucking talking about. Yeah, be jolly in this motherfucker. This is the 10th time I've said this year on this show, but I miss house parties like this. I do. Every time I see one. And for some reason, we've covered about 5 movies with house parties in it this year. I fucking miss house parties like this, man. It'd be fun to just do a throwback nostalgia one, put on some 41, some Solo cups or something. Anyway, never mind. I will say this. I'm like Kevin Bacon here, where I don't believe in hypnosis either. Now, maybe because I've never been hypnotized, to my knowledge, in fairness, I guess. But I don't really believe in this either. And I do think that she's actually right. They do say that if you're like me, it's really hard to do that to you because you're not really buying into what's being sold to you. So I think they're both technically right. Now, I will say, if someone put me to sleep like this, and this, I mean, I haven't slept well in a very long time, fellas. If someone put me to sleep like this, I would just hope they leave me there. I mean, this looks like really good sleep Kevin Bacon was having, bro. He don't remember anything. Had tears in his eyes, a little drool on his mouth. That's what I'm talking about. I will say, I would be beating everybody's ass when I woke up, though. They were fucking with me while I was asleep, man. They stuck a pin in my hand. They fucking, were making me do shit that I didn't know anything about. Hey, don't pass out around white people, and look what happens. Dave Chappelle was absolutely spot on with that joke. Don't pass out around white people. Can't do it. I will say, shout out to Maggie, man. This is a middle of the night reach around old fashioned that my man's getting right here. That's what I'm fucking talking about. Yeah, buddy. And then turns into real sex. Now, you're right. He misses a layup here, right? I mean, he just had the chance to do the thing, and he couldn't get his visions out of his head. That's a tough night at the office for him because she was horny. I would have forgotten all the spooky shit I was seeing and just focused on the game. And you could have had a Jordan flu game right in front of you, Tom, and you fucking failed. Sorry.
Jordan flu game. That's funny. Good review talk here, but disgusting bathwater. I know that's good note taking, but it caught my eye and I thought it was horrible looking. My Lord. And I don't think any woman wants to hear bummer from their baby daddy. Goodness gracious. Like, what is this guy doing? Going to start working overtime again. A real man never stops working overtime. So you got soft hands, brother. You need to work until you stress yourself into a heart attack. What is wrong with you? I don't know if Dustin can relate, but an empty theater to myself and some sleep, that sounds amazing. Like, hell, sign me up right now for that. Nice jump scare with Tom and the person with the plastic over their face. I thought that was really nice. I cringed, like Mike brought up, that safety pin going through the hand. Like, that was really cringy. Ugh. And, I'm going to say something controversial here about this sex scene. This is pure hypocrisy. Shout out Maggie. I've said it in the past for initiating. But if a man rolled over and hands went straight down the pants, that would not fly at all. Like, you got to get some consent right there. What a nightmare. The man's getting laid, seeing all these horrible visions. I hear you, Mike, locking in, but I don't know if I keep seeing all these spooky visions, I don't know if I could get locked in myself. I thought it was an interesting opening, to say the least. And like Mike kind of did, I did first-time notes, first-time watch as well.
Yeah, Nico, it's funny you said an empty theater and some rest sounds great. I already told you, but I was in a theater this afternoon. It wasn't empty. I shared it with a hobo who was getting his rest during the movie. He was snoring. What we doing?
Losing recipes.
And I know he was a hobo because he had his bag full of soup cans with him. Anyway, Tom takes some pills over the sink and sees blood in his glass of water and notices that his mouth is bleeding. So he does the only logical thing and pulls out his front tooth. Except he didn't really. It wasn't real. He goes downstairs and chugs some OJ, hopefully with pulp, be a man, and then some water straight from the faucet while the visions continue. When he sits on the couch, he sees a woman appear beside him on the couch, but he can't hear what she's saying, and then she disappears. Atop the stairs, Jake is looking down at him and tells him not to be afraid of it. Creepy little bastard. The next morning, he tells Maggie about the hallucinations, and she says to call Lisa. So he does, and he asks Lisa if she messed with his brain. And she says no, but then she comes clean. She planted the seed for him to be more open-minded. Maggie calls Lisa next to ask if she can babysit, and Jake is having another talk with his imaginary friend Samantha and suggests a babysitter. When the babysitter Debbie shows up, Tom has a weird vision of a red glow when he sees her. They head to a high school football game, and Tom is still having that weird feeling. Meanwhile, Debbie hears Jake talking to his imaginary friend and goes to check on him. Jake tells her he talks to Samantha, which upsets her. Shouldn't have said that. Tom senses something is wrong and heads home, but he's too late. Tom and Maggie run around town searching, and Tom sees that red glow again, pointing him in the right direction towards the train station. He finds Debbie and Jake, and the cops intervene. Debbie's mom works at the train station, and we find out that Samantha was kidnapped, and Debbie wasn't kidnapping Jake. She just wanted answers. When shown a picture, Tom and Maggie say they've never seen Samantha before, and they start to head home. But Tom tells Maggie that Samantha was the girl that he saw on the couch. And Maggie says she couldn't get any other sitter, and that Jake told him that Samantha suggested her with a bewildered look on her face. What do you guys think?
It's probably my favorite set of scenes here, so I kind of have a little bit, honestly, so just bear with me here. But, I mentioned the characters overall, but specifically Tom and Maggie. I think they feel very down to earth. Like Bacon and Catherine Erb make it feel like a modern couple, I guess, for lack of a better term. At the end of last set of scenes, when he said it was weird, and she said, I can show you weird. Like, I don't know how much I buy that from Catherine Erb's mouth, but I appreciated the attempt at least making it feel like a big city modern husband and wife. And Erb, by the way, Anna, and what about Bob? Dustin mentioned Michelle and Mighty Ducks 2, by the way. And I'm sorry, actually D2, the Mighty Ducks. You said it right. I failed. But yeah, a pretty grounded family dynamic. I really liked where you didn't have that trope of the partner not believing what's going on. Like, that has grown to really drive me crazy in movies like this over the years. Maggie believes him, and that's refreshing to me. In the kitchen here, too, you can see, and this is kind of a really cool factoid to me, Catherine Erb's tattoo on her back, it reads T+M, which is a real tattoo, and in real life stands for her husband, Terry, and her daughter, Maeve, and features a heart around the letters. Like, that obviously inspired the exact same tattoo that they placed inside Kevin Bacon's forearm, which stands for the two actors, or for the two characters, Tom and Maggie. So I thought that was a really great attention to detail there. I never really understood, though, the choice of orange juice for what Tom is like gulping down instead of, I guess, water. But on the director's commentary for this movie, that I know is on Dustin's DVD, but Cope said his answer when he was asked this always was just really that he saw that when you acquire these psychic powers that you need to drink a lot of orange juice for vitamin C, and no one's really contested him on that answer. So there you have it. We really get to see Samantha for the first time here. I love the way that she's shot, almost this uniqueness, and where it kind of reminded me a lot of 13 Ghosts to an extent with that sped up camera effect to give it that creepy feeling. And I know you recognize Jennifer Morrison right off the bat, not from House, not from Dawson's Creek, but Star Trek. Of course, I knew that. So I'll just say this and I'll shut up. This scene here with the football game and the son, when the son's at home with the babysitter, and we get this back and forth with, again, this looming sense of dread where, like, you don't know, is this girl bad? You know something's going on because we clearly know something's up because of Tom's sensitivity like we're experiencing with him. This is my favorite sequence in the movie. I love how they use those elements of red here that Cope has him focusing on, but they're surrounded at the gate to get into the football game. They do such a good job there of making us feel claustrophobic with not only all that anxiety Tom is experiencing with, but all those people just like shoulder to shoulder trying to file in. Just more groundwork, I think, being laid here that we still aren't 100% with what's going on in the story, but I think it sets us up beautifully for that third act reveal that we get, in my opinion. And sorry for the rambling. That's all I had.
It's funny that you said what you said there, because while Nico was taking his notes, he texted me. He's like, yo, is that the girl from Star Trek? Awesome.
That's it. I knew it. I knew you guys.
Doubtful. Anyway, I will say, watching other people pull out their teeth is something I can't stand. God, It weirds me out. I don't like the scene in The Hangover where Stu does it. Don't like that either. Or the pictures that they show of it anyway. Don't like that. So that was gross. But I will say the 2 times I've had to do it myself, back here and back here. I know it's an audio medium, so you guys at home listening couldn't see that. But I don't play around. I will say that. When I have to do my own, we're getting it out of there. We're not messing around, waiting forever, having a professional do it. I'm getting it out of there if it will relieve my pain. Tom's a hardworking blue-collar man. He feels like someone that wouldn't have time for this shit. Nico, could you imagine all this shit starting to happen to you when you're just trying to go to work and work for the city of Tallahassee? Just all these ghost visions in your head. I just don't have to. Man, you got enough on your plate. You know what I mean? Got enough going on. Man's working 9 to 5, probably more, like you said, overtime till he kills himself. Not time to see all these visions like this. So I'm with you from the last set of scenes, Brian, where we don't know who this kid is talking to. Now, I have an idea, given Stir of Echoes, and I'm starting to get a sense of what's kind of going on here, but you could pass it off as him talking to an imaginary friend, and kids that age definitely would have one. So this kid does a great job of making himself creepy by not saying a ton, but when he does talk, he's definitely very convinced that he's talking to someone that he sees. And I think this kid does a great job of making me weirded out by him the entire time. The entire film, I'm like, ooh, this kid, there's something off. And he does a really good job. Now, that boy's going to scare Debbie off, which, come to find out, Debbie runs off with him. Just the craziest shit I've ever seen. like, I get that you miss your sister and this is a terrible thing that happened to the family, but I didn't give you a right to kidnap a kid. What's wrong with you, man? Or run away to the bus station or subway or wherever they are. I don't know. I don't live in them big old cities with public transportation. What's wrong with you guys? I will say I agree with you. This scene where Bacon's kind of having, losing it really is a good word for it. I think that Bacon does a great job there. And all of a sudden he does become an Olympic distance runner, makes it to the house, makes it to the station back real quick. Man wasn't even hardly out of breath. So shout out to him for his cardio conditioning here. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, before I get started, I just want to give a shout out to Kevin Bacon. He's low-key been in a lot of film reviews we've done. This movie, Tremors, Friday the 13th, Maxine, and Hollow Man. 5-time alumni from just the top of my head. He's been in a lot of horror movies, low-key. But I don't think pills can solve what you got going on, Brother Tom. The visions you're seeing, I don't think whatever you're taking is going to help. And like Mike mentioned, I cringed again with that tooth removal. I hate looking at that too. Jake is creepy as hell. You're awake now, Daddy. Maybe this is cute to dads, but me, I'm terrified of this little kid. Like, I don't like that at all. I will give Jake's actor, Zachary David Cope, credit. He has a very good on-present screen as a creepy kid. I thought he did a very good job. Tom is acting very weird, and my man is stressing big time. Nitpick, but this red light flashing and noise, I thought it was kind of annoying. How is Frank not noticing that Tom is acting very off? Like, what kind of friends are they? Like, how are you not noticing this with Tom? If I'm the babysitter, as soon as this kid starts talking about Samantha and talking to her, I'm out. But I wrote that down before I knew that was her sister, but still, I'd still be creeped out regardless. I shouldn't be laughing at Tom crashing out, but he's running down the street, not telling his wife where the kid is, leaves her behind, keeps running off. I'm kind of with you, Dustin, with Kevin Bacon overacting, maybe in that scene particularly as well, but I also think he's very emotional, like he's going through some stuff, but I don't know. Like, I could see either way. I thought this was a powerful scene in public, a lot of strong emotions between Tom and Maggie and the mom and Samantha. Not Samantha, but the babysitter. I thought that was a really powerful scene in public, because I would want to find my lost sister, my lost daughter as well. Like, your son brings him up randomly. I thought that was a really good scene.
We see Jake playing with some toys as Tom and Maggie look on, and Maggie asks him about saying Samantha told him about Debbie. He ignores her questioning and says, "Don't ask the boy any more questions. Talk to me." Tom asks what he said, and Jake is clueless. He doesn't know what happened. He tries to get Jake to do it again, but Maggie takes him downstairs. Tom is trying to get Jake to talk, and Maggie is hell-bent on getting him to stop. Later, Maggie and Jake are in bed, and Tom tries to recreate how he saw Samantha, and it didn't work, but it did make me laugh. That scene in particular is hilarious. Him sitting on the couch, whipping his neck to the left, trying to see her. That was funny. The next week at a block party, Tom tries to get some info on Samantha from his neighbors, and one of the neighbors calls her a retard multiple times, and they say that she ran away. Maggie tells Lisa that Tom hasn't been working. He stays on or near the couch, and she's worried. The next day, Tom wakes up to an empty house, except Kevin Dunn is there and tells him they're going to kill him. Tom says he's going to see if Kevin's wife is home. Okay, his name's Frank. I won't do that anymore. See if Frank's wife is home, and when he goes there, Frank's son pulls a gun and shoots himself. But it was a dream. Tom wakes up and finds the same note from Maggie that he saw in his dream, except this time, no Frank. Tom goes to Frank's house to see the same stuff that he saw in his dream on the way, and he arrives to find that Frank's son had really shot himself. We hear the gunshot. Frank and Sheila arrive back home to see their son being loaded into an ambulance, and Maggie says she's taking Jake for a walk. On their walk, Jake says hello to a brick wall and then starts running towards some bagpipes, and Maggie tells him to wait up.
Again, I can't express how much that I love the fact that it's not the mom-wife trope who isn't experiencing the same stuff that Jake and Tom are, not believing them and thinking they're both crazy. I love that. Again, it's so damn refreshing. Now, something I didn't like here is that ghost voice that Dustin did so well right there when Samantha supposedly takes over Jake and says, "Talk to me, not him," or whatever. That doesn't happen the rest of the film, and when you watch it back, I'm like, why the fuck was that in there?
Very strange.
Like, that's my first real nitpick of the movie, honestly. And again, not something that bothered me on the first watch through. And it felt weird how Tom kept going on and on and on about do it again, do it again, do it again. It didn't feel realistic. And that's the only part to me that I feel like I would agree with the overacting thing there. To me, that was just too much. But I do love this almost like fall into craziness, I guess, that we're starting to see from, like, it's almost this crumble. And if we used before the descent into madness, I guess, that Bacon does, I think, a very fantastic job of portraying throughout the movie. The block party was almost something else where I felt like, we could have gotten a little more, maybe. It's weird because, like, the first time I watch it, the movie does a good job of not focusing too much at all, almost, on who we find out is involved in the Kozak missing persons later. But when you watch it back, you're almost like, I kind of needed a little bit more here from it. Like, especially the landlord and dad of one of those sons. I got to get his name later on. But, a little more character development there would have, I think, been something that the movie would have benefited a lot from. Like, Kevin Dunn and his son are sufficiently developed, I think. But I think his name's Harry, I mean. See, it's just kind of a forgotten character that almost comes across as forced in to the movie later on because of the lack of development there, just my opinion. Now, the whole set of scenes is redeemed here to me because I love, love, love Tom waking up and having that vision that comes to pass later on. But it comes to pass even in, like, different stages. I thought that played out so damn well because you get the part with Tom finding Frank's son dead, but the part with Frank himself doesn't make sense at all until the end. So fantastic in my opinion. Overall, good movement in the movie here, but the first time that I really had some nitpicks.
Did somebody say Kevin Dunn? Goddamn Bucky Beaver looking motherfucker. Oh, sorry. That's a Jim Cornette reference. You're welcome. Anyway. Hey, just saying. I'm with you. The creepy voice that comes out of this kid is creepy, but also oddly placed. Like you mentioned, Brian, like, we don't get any of this, like, possession stuff the rest of the film. Nothing before, nothing really after. It's all kind of visions from a mental standpoint where they're trying to let, or this girl is trying to, that's what we find out, let them know that what happened to her. And we get this voice thing, and it's just kind of odd. Like, I don't really know if was placed in at the last minute. I mean, I don't know. I didn't look it up because I'm not studious, but I did find that odd timing as well. I will say Bacon is great in this scene where he has to lash out, though. The kid is creepy. He's creepy. All of it seems like it's taking place in a different, alternate reality right in front of the mom, right in front of Maggie, where it's like she's watching two people that look like her significant other and kid, but they're not. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but that's how I saw it. And this group of guys, these group of dads, seem super suspicious to me. Now, again, I'm with you. You don't have to take pictures of my glasses, man. Come on. But this group of guys seems super suspicious to me, mostly for the reason that they end up being very suspect. So I was on the nose about that. Now, I will say, this movie could have been avoided. I mean, let's just be honest here, guys. This movie could have been avoided if her sister never entered the picture whatsoever. If Maggie's sister just went the fuck home and didn't hypnotize anybody, then all would be fine. But of course, it's like a woman had to insert herself in the situation. I know Kevin Bacon was talking mad shit, but that doesn't mean you have to really hypnotize a motherfucker. That's crazy. This dad, who ends up being Frank, Kevin Dunn there, is an annoying ass sports dad. I can tell. One of those guys, like, that's my boy out there. Hate that kind of guy. And then the group of guys starts a fight because someone said retard. If that happened in our group, I call Brian retard all the time. We'd be in fist fights all the fucking time if we were all hanging out. So probably wouldn't work for us. And again, they do a pretty good job of tricking me throughout the film until a little bit later on when I start to piece it all together of what's real, what's not real, right? Like, what is Bacon seeing from a vision standpoint, what's actually happening in front of him. And it genuinely confused me with Frank. Like, I'm going to have to kill you and Maggie both. Well, why'd you say that? Super odd, super out of place. Turns out to be a dream or vision or whatever, but it was super, super odd. Now, back to Killer Son here, guys. Now, I don't want to be whatever. Before I found out he was a murderer, his stats, according to his dad, that's somebody Mike Norvell could have been hot on the trail after. You know what I mean? I mean, that screams 3-star Norvell right there. Anyway, sorry. But last thing, Maggie being pretty annoying here. You know, I know that she needs a breather, but going to take a walk and she's like dancing around with this weird kid son of hers as all this stuff, a shooting just happened and her significant other is involved. I don't know, man. Not a good time. I think Maggie makes a lot of missteps along the way, but I think she has a good heart. I can't believe I'm speaking positively about a woman in front of Dustin. Go ahead, Nico.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I thought the voice change from Jake was very meh. I just thought it was weird. It sounded weird too. But I like Tom's descent into madness. I think Kevin Bacon does do a good job with that. Good review talk here, but this block party, that looks fun. Like, we need to bring that back. We need to bring community, society back to our world. Kind of creepy to say you've been thinking about a missing girl a lot and then popping all these pills. You're not looking very sane, brother. Frank goes 0 to 100 real quick. I'm going to kill you, Tommy and Maggie, out of nowhere. That was wild. And speaking of 0 to 100, this kid shooting himself in the ribs and rubbing his blood on his face, that was wild too. Hell of a dream, Tom. But this was horrifying. You know, I couldn't imagine finding someone who had just shot themselves. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, those emotions, those feelings. I thought this was a good set of scenes for the movie.
Jake walks up as Roddy Piper's favorite instrument plays in the cemetery, and it's a police funeral. He waves at a cop, and Maggie ushers him away. As they walk, the cop Jake waved at is following them. The cop mentions Jake's X-ray eyes and tells Maggie to have Tom come see him later. And he and Jake tell each other goodbye by their names. Later at home, Jake gives Tom some guitar lessons, and Maggie says she's heading to the movies. Really, she's going to see Neil, the cop from the cemetery, and she gets some directions from Nico's aunt. Neil explains what Tom and Jake are experiencing, and that it can come and go. Later, Maggie goes to get in the bath, and Samantha appears behind her in the mirror, but Maggie doesn't see her. Then Samantha appears on Jake's TV, but he doesn't want to talk right now. Tom is trying to figure out how he knows the song that Jake showed him, and Maggie is relighting the pilot on the water heater, and Samantha keeps messing with Jake's TV as Tom has another vision. He's in the house, and there's plastic everywhere, and he sees Samantha. As he gets closer to her, she entrances him and takes his breath away until Maggie snaps him out of it. Tom goes to Lisa's and demands to be hypnotized again. She starts to hypnotize him, except this time someone else is in the theater with him. It's Samantha, and she attacks him, and he tells Lisa he's supposed to dig. Maggie gets home with groceries and sees dirt all over the floor. She goes outside to find Tom and Jake digging up the yard. Tom tells her he's supposed to dig. He's in no mood for her interrogation, and they get into a spat. Maggie goes off on Tom, and Jake throws a rock at his toy truck. What'd you guys think?
First of all, Dustin called the bagpipe guy at the start of this Roddy Piper in the breakdown, and then he called Kevin Bacon the Baconator. and I cannot express how much I loved that. I just wanted to say that. But the inclusion of this dead, sensitive Neil guy is kind of weird, isn't it? Like it almost felt out of place. Funny that we're doing it over on the series show for me to say this, since the character is in that show. But I heard that it was in that show, but almost felt like Dick Halloran type of character. That it didn't really have depth that I guess that we maybe expected to see. I mean, maybe the book that this was based on explained more of this, but to me it was just weird here. Script
least
Doctor Bro, go ahead.
At least Dick didn't get whacked here.
I knew that was coming, but I had to let you go. If Script Doctor Brian would have cut that whole part out with Maggie going to what looked like some drug den in that back alley to learn literally nothing that she didn't already know, and added more character development for those killer kids and their dads. I mean, it felt like it was in there to tell us he's sensitive now to things because his mind is open, which we already knew and got from the sister-in-law earlier. The only thing that we got is that the ghost would get mad if you didn't do their, I guess, unfinished business. But did we need that? Or could we have just gotten it on that phone call from the sister-in-law earlier? I mean, just saying, cut it all. Now, I did think the sudden inclusion of Samantha throughout the set of scenes with Maggie going to the basement was like the perfect way of doing it. It was creepy, but without that jump scare music that you'd expect from a movie like this. And, having the TV switching with Jake back to the OG Night of the Living Dead and an old black and white movie Nico will love when we do it. And Tom's new vision of the day of the murder, I thought was fantastic. Quickly making me forget about the earlier part of the set of scenes that I didn't like. Now, did I miss Maggie hitting her head on something in the basement? And if so, I miss it every time I watch this. But when she comes out of the basement and her head's bleeding, every time I'm like, damn, I missed it again. You'd think that one time that I would rewind it to see if it's actually in there, but that's how literally lazy I am sometimes. I just didn't do it any time that I've ever watched the movie. Now, the new hypnotism scene I thought was pretty great, but come the fuck on, Samantha. Like, could you put basement wall or something on the screen instead of just dig? This motherfucker tore up his entire yard, entire basement, went through so much unnecessary shit when she was in the wall the whole time. Like, what a fucking asshole ghost.
I also laughed and cracked up at the Roddy Piper reference here in the scene by scene. So great job. Anytime I hear bagpipes, I think of old Hot Rod. So that's good stuff. And again, child actor, super creepy here. Again, like, how did he know this guy's name? Like, dude, if this were my kid, we're going to have to put him in bubble wrap and keep him at home. He'll be freaking people out in the streets. I can't have that. Embarrassing dad in front of the ladies. Come on now. I'm just kidding. Anyway, now, look, this bathtub scene, I know hey, I haven't spoke about Maggie this whole movie. I waited till this scene in particular to bring her up. She runs the water, and to quote the great Jim Levenstein, you look like you could use a hand, is what I would have said had I walked in there. But anyway, this, I will say, if I was this kid or anybody, really, this ghost changing my channel would annoy the piss out of me. It would have me irrationally mad. If you were changing the channel and I couldn't do anything about it, that's the kind of stuff that pisses me off to no end. Taking a piece out of your kitchen floor, and I know everyone's basement area is different, but that's a kitchen that you removed a massive piece of tiles for to get down to the lower part of your house. Is, I don't know, super odd to me. I was like, that's pretty wild. Again, this creepy, it'd be creepy to walk in on Kevin Bacon being frozen and having a vision here from the kitchen, but don't lie. The way that the girl was doing the hand and that he was doing the hand, it looked like they were about to do the rocket power, right? Like, I can't be the only one that thought of woogity, 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 woogity there, right? Like, Nico knows. Get a little rocket power in there. Now, our other two compadres may have been a little bit too old to see rocket power in real time, especially Brian. Probably don't know what that show is. Sorry. Yep. See, there you go, buddy. He was more like a salute your shorts Nick kid, right? Like, yeah, there you go, buddy. Yeah. See? Yep. That. Okay. Anyway, I know I've given her hell, but I think Maggie is actually a pretty good woman, who's doing stuff to take care of her family while Kevin Bacon's going through this crazy spell. I don't know. I had a whole bunch more. but it kind of just feels like my rambling, so I'm going to cut some of it and just let you go, Nico.
Hope we never fart. It's a hope we never
First
part.
of all,
Say it right or pay the price.
Rocket Power came out in 1999, same as this movie. I was 11. I'm not too old for Rocket Power. However, I didn't watch Rocket Power. I had stopped watching cartoons by that point.
See, there you go.
Damn. Yeah, I was a
We know.
freshman
Buddy.
in high school. Nope, sophomore.
In college?
Your kid was
High
a
school,
sophomore
motherfucker.
in high school when that came out? Gotcha.
Well, I guess if I was 8 years old, so I figure I might as well just say what I was too. All right, this is spooky. This cop says my kid has X-ray. I was like, what the hell? So Neil and Jake just know each other's names, huh? Alrighty, I'm spooked out if I'm Maggie. I'm like, if I'm Maggie, I'm like, what the hell is going on with this right now? And shout out to Maggie. I think personally she's the best in this movie. Like she should have been on the cover. I thought she was kind of the star, honestly. Nice jump scare with Samantha in the bathroom mirror, and I like that Maggie didn't see it in that instance. I really did like that. I appreciated that. Maggie clearly sees he has headphones on and gets mad he doesn't hear. Like, go tap on his shoulder. Like, I'm on Maggie's side in this movie so far, but that's egregious. Like, you can't see someone has headphones on and then get mad they don't hear you. Like that kind of ticked me off a little bit. Starting to get too much Samantha sightings now. I don't need to see her pop up every 2 seconds. Like, just keep her in the background, show her up in the mirror like you did a minute ago. But I don't need to see her every instance. If I'm this couple, why aren't they tweaking on Lisa more? Like, what is this evil you put on me? And there we go. We're at Lisa's. Thank you to writer Richard Matheson and David Cope. We're on the same page. I appreciated that writing choice right then because I was at that moment thinking, why aren't they mad at Lisa? But then the next scene, we're at Lisa's. I like that. Maggie is way better than me. I'd be crashing out so hard over all that damn orange juice. And if that wasn't enough, this man has dug up my whole backyard. Jake's face after his dad snapped, that sent me. I tell you what, like whenever Tom started snapping and then we see Jake's face, I started crying, laughing. And this is the last thing I got, Dustin. This is a next level crash out, and I love it. I know Maggie is disgusted hearing it, but I don't know. I'm really, as I get older, I'm just really appreciating watching men crash out. I think it's hilarious.
I will say this Maggie is much better than another Maggie we've covered.
Oh,
on
here
the
we
show.
go. Here we go.
She's not a saint, but that Maggie Hart, the exact opposite. Anyway.
Goodness.
Maggie's at the kitchen table, and Tom joins her with his OJ. He apologizes while she reads a fax from her brother about her grandmother. He starts to say something, but stops. And then the phone rings, and she learns that her grandmother has passed away. He knew. Funeral Sunday, but Tom's too busy to go. Free from the nagging wife, Tom gets back to his digging. When the water hose doesn't work, he heads to the basement to fix it, but then feels the need to dig through the basement floor. While he's working, his landlord hears his hooting and hollering from across the street. Yeah, all right. That bugged the piss out of me. He's in the basement all the way across the street. He heard him. Anyway, Tom calls Maggie and they make up. And she's coming to pick him up. Bad news for him. He has wrecked the house. I'm not sure why the kitchen floor was messed up. The only thing below it was the basement. Made no sense. Why would you dig through the kitchen floor? Maggie heads out, but Jake wants to stay. While he's swinging a sledgehammer, he hits a wall on accident and discovers something wrapped in plastic behind the bricks. And the next set of scenes is the ending.
Yeah, and all that asshole ghost had to do was say wall instead of dig. It was crazy. The start of the set of scenes I felt like it was slow, but I also felt like it did more solidifying Maggie and Tom's relationship. And honestly, I really liked those kind of scenes. Again, they felt real. Now, most of the rest of this can pretty much be summed up in what I said at the end of the last set of scenes. All of this was unnecessary stress on Tom digging. Had Samantha just not been such a, well, I'm not going to say the word that they used earlier at the street party, but just tell him you're in the damn wall. Hell, you spoke through Jake earlier. Like, I mean, couldn't you just spoke through him again? Told him you're in the wall. I mean, the powers make no sense, Ghost Lady. Cool tidbit, though, something I'd never heard before. On the director's commentary, Cope said that the scene where Maggie's sitting in the car in the rain was shot on a night where it was actually raining very heavily. But the real rain didn't look real on film. So the crew had to set up an awning to cover the car from the rain, then rig up fake rain under the awning to achieve the look of the real rain. Isn't that crazy? I've never heard of anything like that before. Also, when they were setting up the scene where Maggie leaves Jake at a relative's house it was realized that they'd gone over the number of hours that the child actor that plays Jake could work due to those child labor laws. Those darn child labor laws. Crew members had to run from house to house in the neighborhood that they were filming in to find a child who looked enough like him to appear as a background character, like after they cut his hair. That's crazy to find that out. Anyway, I'm ready for the ending.
But I didn't mention this in my last set of scenes, but I actually like Bacon's performance throughout this part of the movie because I almost feel like he's able to switch in and out of playing the same character but playing different characters. Like there's normal Tom, and then there's crazy seeing stuff, can't get it out of his mind Tom. And I think him able to kind of go back and forth seamlessly is really difficult. And so I get the overacting. I think there's some of that here, but I actually kind of like how he does it in this particular part of the film. You mentioned him crashing out, which I forgot to mention in the last set of scenes as well. But to my point, to start this set of scenes, he goes back into being calm, normal guy, kind of snaps back into it at the table here where he's just talking to Maggie. And then him knowing and realizing in the middle of what he's about to say, he's about to just drop the bomb on Maggie that her grandma's dead, and him having to stop himself. So he knew because he already is able to see the dead, right? And so I found that to be sad and somewhat horrifying because it's not a gift I would ever want to have. Now, we'll say, can't defend him not going to the funeral. Sometimes you got to suck it up and just go to those things. It's a dick move no matter what you got going on. Now, there's a 2-minute chunk here, and I don't have a whole lot more after this. There's like a 2-minute chunk. It's not quite 2 minutes. I'm being exaggerated, but it's pretty close. Of Kevin Bacon with a pickaxe, just hammering the floor. That's it. That's all. That's all it was for almost 2 solid minutes, and I thought that was funny. Now, and maybe this is one of the ones that Dustin found funny too, but him being an absolute madman with that jackhammer was fucking hilarious. I don't know if it was intentional. the faces he was making, the laugh he had, I thought, man, that's fucking funny. I don't know if you're trying to be funny, but it sure fucking was. Last thing I have, I would have gone Dr. Loomis, Halloween 5 on this kid right here, man. Like, quit speaking in riddles and fucking, why can't you speak? That's what I would have said to this kid because he's talking, but he ain't really fucking saying anything, just like most little kids. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a heads up, Dustin. I don't have much on this set of scenes, but a pickaxe to a concrete floor, goodness, brother, go rent a jackhammer or something. Maybe I have soft hands. But again, I got to compliment David Cope. Am I saying that right, or the director's name? Okay, just making sure. Me and this writer are on the same page a lot. I see getting a jackhammer, it made too much sense. Like, what are you doing with a pickaxe? Like, goodness gracious. And all I could think about was Maggie. She's going to freak the hell out when she sees what this house looks like, and I can't wait. Not much to take notes on. I thought it was good, but I'm ready for the ending.
Well, here it is. Tom grabs a box cutter and cuts into the plastic where he finds a badly decomposed body. He sees a vision of when Samantha was abducted, and it's Frank's son and his friend. He starts kissing her, and she is clearly uncomfortable, even though she said that he could kiss her, just not like that, and he went way too far. She wants to leave, but he won't let her. He starts assaulting her, and they suffocate her to stop her screams. They're shocked that they suffocated her, putting plastic over her head. Who'd have thought that would kill her? Tom heads to Frank's, and one of the two boys was watching. He shows Frank what he found, and Frank says he has no proof who did it. Frank knew all along. He fires a gun near Tom and tells him to go get, and we hear another gunshot once he's upstairs. As he goes to leave, his landlord and the other boy who was involved are at his door. Tom says he was working on a leaky water main, but the landlord knows better. A struggle ensues, and right as the landlord was about to shoot Tom, Maggie shows up, honking the horn just in time. She hears the sound of a struggle from inside and grabs a knife from her purse. When she goes inside, she gets knocked to the ground. But she stabs the landlord in the foot, and Frank emerges from the basement and saves the day. He shoots the landlord and his son, and then sits on the doorstep and repeats what he said to Tom in the dream earlier. We see the ghost of Samantha is moving on at peace, and we get, and then she gets a proper funeral. Tom and Maggie move, and Jake is hearing whispering from the back seat, and the movie ends.
Let me just say this before I get into my notes. I didn't write anything about this, but it made me think about it when you were saying it. At the very end, whenever the ghost Samantha's walking away, Am I the only one that thought this car is about to fucking run her down? And then it like she could have walked anywhere else on that road.
Bro,
Like
she should.
why?
She's like, she better be thankful she wasn't in Brandy's neighborhood.
Oh, Scary Movie has ruined so many things for me. Anyway, great ending, I thought. Now, when Tom finds Samantha's bones, sidebar. Every time that I say the word bones, I think of Scary Movie 2 when Brenda's like, that's what you're scared of? It's just a bag of bones. Anyway, but when he finds Samantha, why did he touch her hand? Like, you could have just shown us what would happen without touching a dead girl's bone. That's gross. Anyway, that transition, though, from Bacon's face to Morrison's, I thought was fantastic, though. It was a great touch. Weird dialogue, though, for Samantha and Kurt and Adam. Like, I'm not even 100% sure that's the killer's names here. But the convo went from, we want to be your friends now. And the next sentence, Samantha's like, you can kiss me if you want to. Damn, girl, horny. Let me tell you. And then he's like, how about a little helmet wash? Helmet wash? My God, has that phrase ever been a thing? Helmet wash.
It is
Jesus
with me now.
Christ. Jesus Christ, David Cope. Wow. Anyway, now seeing it all play out and the flashes that we've seen throughout the movie all come together here is fantastic. Although it did escalate a little too quickly and kind of maybe non-realistically, probably. But I think the rest of it made up for it. I like the ending enough.
Yeah, so we already kind of mentioned, but man, talk to me, rip this movie off. I mean, that's what we're getting here. I mean, you mentioned the bone, but him having to grab the hand, I thought was actually, as much as I was like the one in this group that didn't really like Talk to Me that much. It's fine. It's just not my kind of movie. But in this, I thought it made a little bit of sense because we've gotten some kooky zany things, so I don't think it was too out of left field. And I will say, I was worried about what actually happened to this girl. And getting to see what happened is very sad and very tragic. And so all the movie now is starting to make sense because we are seeing these visions, come to real life of what he's been seeing this whole time, what we've been seeing him see this whole time. And so I do like how these are all woven together, as sad as what happened to her is. And, him getting shot, man, he deserved to be shot. Fuck this kid. Anyway, Maggie shows up. And look, I agree with you, Nico. She's probably the best character in the movie as far as stability goes, but she showed up and just sat outside and honked. Like, well, let's use our brains. Something's clearly off about what's going on here. Let's go inside and check on this man. Come on now. Have a little faith in him. That's all I'm saying. All I really had is I like the ending. I like how it puts it all together here. And I like the way that they ended the funeral and everything. Now, last thing, I would hate being able to hear all these voices and whispers that people have going on as we drive by like that, or whatever ability he has to hear dead people, see dead people, Haley Joel Osment style would drive me absolutely nuts. I want no part of it.
How you think Randy Orton feels?
I hear
Hears voices in his head.
Sorry.
Yeah, this corpse, this looks wild. Like, why they have to set it up with the teeth and the glasses looking like that? I'm not going to lie. I shouldn't have, but I did laugh. Like, you didn't have to set the thing up like that. Not going to lie, I did have a hunch that one of the brothers was in on it, the one we saw shooting himself earlier. This is disgusting behavior to see, and it boils my blood. I hate watching this kind of stuff. The way this scene is shot is very in your face. It's uncomfortable, but it's effective for what it's doing. Like, this scene did get a rise out of me, so I appreciated that. Just from a filmmaking aspect, not what the context was. And Frank just admits he's just as guilty as his two disgusting sons. How could you hide this information? Like, I don't care if it is my son. Like, I can't protect that. And damn, Tom, your key knuckles didn't work out at all. Bro got fast as hell. Well, hell yeah, Frank, shoot these bums. It doesn't absolve you from holding back info, but that was a good start. I smiled seeing Samantha's spirit be at peace, or at least, and justice for her family. Good call, family. Move out of this house. Like, that's what everyone should do. But, of course, creepy kid sees more spirits. Always got to leave it open for a sequel. Dustin loves a good sequel. This kid might be getting sent to the orphanage, to be honest.
In my closing notes, I put that one positive is that it set us up for a sequel, but we never got it. I didn't know there was one until Brian said that earlier, which I looked up, and Rob Lowe's in. It's on Tubi. It's director Ernie Barbarash. I looked at his IMDb to see what else he's directed. Bro directs nothing but Hallmark Christmas movies, apparently. Like, oh my God, there's so many of them.
God, that's all my wife watches now. It started last week.
Thoughts and prayers.
Tell me about it. Exactly.
Last
That's
week.
how I
Last
feel.
week was
I put
Halloween.
up Thanksgiving stuff, and I got told that it's not going to last very long because she's putting up Christmas stuff soon. So here we I feel like I'm living with Mike.
Hold on. You put up Thanksgiving stuff? I saw a TikTok saying like, what
Yeah,
you gonna
man,
do?
that's
Just
what
skip
I'm
over
saying.
Thanksgiving,
That's
get
what
ready?
I'm saying. I could be.
Yes,
man,
motherfucker.
and
What are you
listen,
gonna do? Hang up
listen,
turkeys around the
listen.
house?
How about you just don't put up any decoration? You just leave your house the same year round. That's
Well,
what I
that's
do.
you. All I can say. Hey, man.
Have no spirit year
on
round.
you.
Be a man.
I like to be joyous in my house.
All right, guys, jump to our social media comments and questions. I'll knock out the Graham. Jesse Kraft, shout out to Jesse. She said yes, finally, with all kinds of appreciative emojis. I'm not going to name all of them.
Name them all.
Favorite Kevin Bacon movie. Hey, we appreciate you, Jesse. All right, we got the one emoji smiling with a little sweat
That's
dropping
not what
down
he
his
meant.
face. We got
Okay,
the crying emoji and the two hands up emojis. That's three. That's three's company, right? Shout out. I've seen that show. All right, last thing we got is from APZ84. This movie is so underrated. Great horror movie with great acting. Kevin Bacon is the man.
Yes. Have you
Kevin
seen Wild
Bacon is
Things,
the man.
Nico?
Oh,
Oh.
that's a good one.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that
Yes,
Nev
but also
Campbell,
Kevin Bacon.
Denise Richards?
Um,
I understand. I
love a good
understand why
mystery.
you watched that one.
I've got
Brian,
Blue
but go
Sky
ahead.
pulled up. We had nothing. I've got X, or is formerly known as Twitter, pulled up. We also had nothing. Go ahead.
Well, I'll make up for that. On Facebook, we had nothing.
In the scene where Tom gets angry after digging in the backyard and kicks the bucket towards the wall, did you say this one?
No, but I
Okay.
wish I had. I love this one.
The bucket wasn't supposed to hit and break the window. That was a quote-unquote happy accident, and it was used in the film because Kevin Bacon stayed in character and continued the scene. And, yeah, it turned out awesome. Like,
Yeah.
who hasn't broken something when they're pissed off and then just be like, you can't show weakness. Don't acknowledge that you did it. Just keep going. Yeah, that's realistic.
What's funny is when I was watching it and he did it, I went, I wonder if that was on purpose. So
The babysitter, when she's sitting on the couch, she's reading a book called The Shrinking Man by Richard Matheson, who is the author of A Stir of Echoes, the basis for this film. Thought that's pretty cool. And the last one I've got is that Kevin Dunn was in 2006's The Darwin Awards with David Arquette. Didn't have to go far for this one.
okay, I'm glad you read the babysitter one. I had that one, but my last one I had is like I mentioned in my open that I would come back to. The Writers Guild actually denied Andrew Kevin Walker a screenplay credit for his script doctoring work on this film, so he receives a special thanks in the end credits. Walker, of course, helped write Seven and Sleepy Hollow.
All I know is if he was the casting director on Seven, he could have done a better job. But that's a different story.
No.
Yeah.
Ed Norton. Oh, is this me reading about money? Brian, the thing Brian has a lot of. Stir of Echoes was made for a cool $12 million. And the number that it ended up grossing worldwide is kind of all over the place, but I rounded up because that's what I fucking felt like doing. And it made $23 million worldwide on a $12 million budget. So there you go.
$12 million budget and 99. Goodness.
I mean, Rosemary's
That was
Baby had
crazy.
$3 million
That's a lot
in
of
I didn't look up the
Yeah.
inflation number. I should have.
I don't know where
This
that money went. I
guy,
guess
this
it's the
guy.
movie was so damn long. They had to stay in New York so long, I guess. I don't know.
Probably went to
Well,
Roman
if I get a
Polanski
chance to
so he could
slander
pay
an
his
old
lawyers.
movie, by God, I'm going to do it.
Oh,
We're going to play house.
$6.
Roman Polanski's
Jesus.
house. Anyway.
Dustin, you want to...
Upon further review, my favorite kill was the two boys and the dad. I don't know that Frank's son died. We don't ever get confirmation that he died, I don't think. But him, his friend, and the dad, they were covering up a heinous crime. So, yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell. Shout Samuel L. Jackson. Least favorite kill is the girl, Samantha. That's awful. All right. Rating, final thoughts. I think it's solid. Very few nitpicks from me. And they're just things like, when he heard Tom laugh from the basement all the way across the street, and then him tearing up the kitchen floor for no reason. But like I said, those are minor nitpicks. Other than that, the acting's good, the story's good. There's some good directing and cinematography. And like I said, I'm thankful that they didn't get, even though they got a sequel, I'm thankful they didn't get a sequel that went to the theater and like they try to. If this came out today, it would have a theatrical release. It would have marketing that you can't avoid, and then they would make 4 more of the movies. So I'm thankful they didn't do that. Anyway, I give it a 7.25.
My favorite kill was I'm right there with you, Dustin. But I chose I can't remember which brother son it was who shot himself. Like, yeah, get rid of yourself for what you've done. Least favorite kill was Samantha for sure for what happened to her. That was disgusting. I hate watching those kind of movies and scenes. I thought the movie was fine. I didn't necessarily love it, but I did enjoy it for the most part. I liked Maggie's character the most. I don't know why. I just didn't fall in love with it, but I didn't love Talk to Me
Yeah, I'll
either.
go-
But I gave the movie a 6. Sorry, Brian.
same
I
as
hope that's
Ghostbusters.
acceptable. I gave it a 6. I gave Ghostbusters 6. Was it a 6 or 6.25? I can't remember. I need to rewatch Ghostbusters. I'm sorry.
Out here being nice for no reason. Anyway, I didn't do a favorite kill, least favorite kill. Not really the point of the movie, I guess. Yep. I mean, all in all, like I said in my open, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good story. It kept me interested the whole time. Runtime is great. I think Bacon is good and fun in the parts of a movie where I don't really think it was supposed to be. So I think the overacting actually worked for me in my favor as far as my enjoyment of the film. This did remind me a lot of Sixth Sense, and I like Sixth Sense, and so there's definitely those vibes to it as well. I mean, there's some inconsistency throughout the plot, right? I mean, again, there's some random things that we talked about, but all in all, I think it's a solid story. It's a very interesting, I mean, twist isn't the right word, but how they bring it all together in the end, I think is a really solid, well-written film, and I have to give it a lot of credit for that, because while it was started to become obvious, it was still really good to find out what happened to Samantha and see the guys that did it to her brought to some kind of justice. So I really enjoyed that part of the movie as well. So because of that, speaking of sevens, I gave this movie a 7.25.
All right, my favorite kill was Samantha because no, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to be different. See if anybody was paying attention. Anyway, we talked about it really getting steamrolled by The Sixth Sense, but this really picked up a lot of steam when it came out on video rental, and honestly, to me, that's the epitome of the definition of a cult classic in that regard, in my opinion. So I think this is definitely a cult classic, and I miss video rental stores. I just wanted to say that. I think it's great, as I've said throughout. I mean, most of all of this has, to me, huge rewatchability factor. That since we're talking about it again, I don't think that you get with Sixth Sense. I gave this one a flat 8. I think it's a good movie, but the stuff I mentioned I'd cut or felt a little off brought it down some for me.
All right, that gives us a 7.125 composite. IMDb's is 6.9, so we're right there with them. Letterboxd 3.3. Rotten Tomatoes, 70% of critics were favorable, including the impossible Roger Ebert. Good stuff.
Hey, take it. Guys, any final thoughts on Stir of Echoes for our shout out our blood donors, and Mike can announce his pick for next week? All right, let's do it. Blood donors, like I've said, ever since we started the blood donor program, we really appreciate y'all. Take a huge burden off of us, help us pay these bills. None of that money goes in our pockets. It just goes directly back into the pod. So thank you sincerely. Camper level reoccurring, Nina, Michelle Mirza, Steve Schmidt, Matt from the UK, and Anthony Andrews. Hey, Matt, we missed your comments. We need some more wild, unhinged comments from you, brother. Where you been? Camp counselor reoccurring, Edwin Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis from You Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, Madison Arzola, Casey Smith, and a new camp counselor blood donor, Amanda Pettiford. Really appreciate y'all. Take a huge burden off of us, like I've said. Means the world to us. Mike, announce your pick for next week. Bring us back to a good decade.
Come on, man. Man, the hate is unjustified and unnecessary.
Was it something I said?
Behavior.
Sorry.
Yeah, I actually pulled a Dustin for a second and forgot what I picked, but I remember now. We're good. I went with, is that 2025? 2025. So in this calendar year, The Ugly Stepsister, a twisted Cinderella story, and I just wanted to punish myself by making myself watch a movie with subtitles. That's why I did it, because when I tried to watch it over the summer, I mentioned that, and Nico told me to be a man and use subtitles. So I'm doing it. I am being a man, and I'm going to watch the movie speaking a different language. So there you go.
I've gotten to
Me
where I
too.
watch subtitles on English movies now. I
I
don't
do
know
on some
why.
if it's hard to hear. But yeah, I'm glad you picked it though. It's severely
I agree.
overdue.
You don't have to do that with every movie I
about
pick,
right.
asshole. Okay,
If they come out in the past 6 months, I feel the need
dude,
to.
that movie had already been. I don't even know what movie that was now. What, Maxine or something? Pearl? Fuck you.
It's been out for
It
like
had-
3
no,
days.
you're
and it was
exaggerating.
overdue
It
months.
had been
No,
out for
Matt.
a while. Piss off.
I
They
like
made us
Ugly
take notes
Stepsister.
in the theater for that movie and said it was overdue.
No, I didn't. I wasn't allowed. I got told on a equal partnership show that I couldn't fucking pick a movie. Damn.
I like the Ugly Stepsisters. I'm good with it. We appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll be back next week. I'm excited to hear what Brian. I don't know if Brian's going to like it or not, but
Oh.
Good night,
Yeah.
Canada.
I'm gonna let you have that.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
just want to remind everybody.